What you're about to see is the biggest scene I've ever worked on. Ever. Stay tuned. What's up, Survivalists? It's Jay from TeamWnJ here. If you're not subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe now and hit that bell icon to stay notified whenever I upload a new video on Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. If you're already subscribed, welcome back. It's good to see you again. Make sure you leave a comment so I can remember who you are. Let's try to get this video up to 6 likes. Onto the video. Okay, so today I want to show you guys what I've been working on for the past week. No, it's not the lake. I'll get to that in a bit, but I finished it. What I'm talking about is this. This is, of course, not the final render. This is what we call a hardware render. We're using this to kind of assemble the edit and make sure all the timing and everything is correct before the final render. If you want a tutorial on how to do this, I've already made one right up here. But basically, this renders a lot faster than the actual final render. You may think to yourself, oh, this scene doesn't look too big. It's actually kind of small, but here's some interesting trivia for you. In the original Levaslier episode 1 that I put out way back in 2014, in the entire 8 minutes and 50 seconds, there are only 8 character rigs. In this one shot alone, in these 10 seconds, there are 20 character rigs, as well as a cart rig, IK dynamics on the horses, and a smoke simulation. So yeah, major upgrades in terms of skill and hardware, but this is just one shot in an entire scene. If we take a look at the storyboard for episode 1, you can see that there's actually a crowd shot immediately following this one, and God knows how many more character rigs I'll need for that. But I mean, it's like, I can't even run this scene without using proxies galore because there's just so much going on. Quick change of pace here. I thought I'd show you guys the final result of the lake. I mean, this took a bit longer than expected, but we're quite happy with the results. In actuality, this is one of the bigger sets that I've built. It's almost as big as Hemrage City, like almost, but still not quite. That being said though, I'm gonna have to import the entire lake instead of just like a portion of Hemrage, so that's gonna be quite fun to do. I can't wait to animate the scenes that are actually gonna happen here because we've spent 2 years on this damn script alone. I mean, 7 years on the entire project already. So the end result of this is sure to be something to look forward to. Anyway, back to this scene. There's a lot of stuff happening here, so I thought I'd go in and break down all the tiny little technical details that you may have missed. Treat this kind of like a walkthrough if you plan on doing something this big as well. Starting with the foreground here, we've got a blacksmith. And what I've made for the blacksmith is a hammer, a pair of tongs that actually do work, as well as this hot metal bit that he's hammering. The thing with the tongs is that it doesn't actually have a clean metal texture, it's actually rusted. This shows the state of the blacksmith to not have clean equipment, as well as the state of the particular portion of Hemrage City that this scene is taking part in. This hot metal stuff is also pretty nice. If we click on it, we can actually see a slider that if you fiddle with, you can actually turn on and off the hot stuff. I've done this by creating a vertex map and then setting the weight on the red parts to 100 while the rest are 0. Then in my luminance channel, I've made it use my vertex map as a mask, so only the parts marked as 100 show luminance. Finally, I've used a bit of user data and Expresso here to link up the slider to the brightness of my luminance. Ta-da! I've also put some attention into the environment around the blacksmith, so what you guys don't see is the forge behind the blacksmith, but you probably guessed that it was there. Using Grayscale Gorilla's signal plugin, I was able to make this light flicker like fire, which is what a forge is supposed to do. This adds a really nice atmospheric touch that I really like. If you guys want to know how I did the smoke simulation, it's nothing different than what I usually teach, and I've already made a tutorial on it in the Turbulence FD handbook right up here. Basically, the simulation starts when the hot metal touches the water, and it detects the hot metal bit as an emitter for all the fume particles. In the middle of the frame, we have all these soldiers as well as Ulfrind and Arkosh riding across. Nothing too special here. But behind them, I've got this cart rig, and this one's interesting. I've driven the animation using the C-motion of the horses. For those who don't know what C-motion is, in Cinema 4D, C-motion is what drives the automatic animation. So in this case, the C-motion is the horses automatically walking forward. Because I've got 2 horses, and oh, by the way, there are 6 different horses here, but because I got 2 different horses, I've created a null object, which is basically an invisible object, and I've put a constraint tag on that object so that it would follow both the motions of both horses. Then I parented the cart underneath the null as well as the villager, so wherever the null moves, the cart and the villager follows. And that's pretty much it. I didn't have to animate the wheels or the wiggling at all. Why? Because that's all done through Expresso. Basically what I've done is I've linked the cart's x-axis to the rotation of the wheels. So the wheels only rotate whenever the cart moves in the correct direction. Also, whenever the body of the cart moves, it jiggles left and right a little bit, which gives it that little rumbling feeling. You're also gonna notice that I put attention onto the chests that are on the cart. Whenever the cart jiggles a little bit, the chests actually flip open, just a slight bit. Again, this is all just basic espresso that anyone can do. Finally, behind the cart, there are these stables that have 2 horses in them. I initially wanted a few farmers to be standing around looking at the horses, but then that would bump the amount of NPCs from like 20 to 22, which is insane. So again, there are 2 horses in there. One of them is actually resting, the other one is eating. You'll notice that I closed the door in the middle because I didn't feel like putting anything in there. We are 10 subscribers away from 2,000 as of making this video, and it definitely would not have been possible without a few key people that I'll be shouting out when we reach this goal. Reminder that Levaslier episode 1 is supposed to drop on May 19th, 2019, which is 4 months away. I honestly don't really fancy the odds of making it in time because we are really tight on schedule. But if we don't make it, I'm gonna try to hit before 2019 ends latest. If you want a quick update on the situation with Corridor, I'm still waiting for a response because they've received way more applications than expected, so that's fun. But in the meantime, I'm working hard on growing this channel and taking care of Levaslier. I'm also wondering how many of you guys know about my Patreon, because Patreon is the way to get more consistent uploads of Levaslier in shorter periods of time, if I'm able to get sufficient funding to turn this into my full-time job. That is, of course, the goal, because you guys want to see more Levaslier and I want to make more Levaslier. So if you've got $1 to spare, make it count by checking out the awesome reward tiers on patreon.com/TeamWnJ. Anyway, that's it for me. Cheers!